Okay, we're on.
All right.
My name is Dom Gervasi. I'm the owner and producer of Made in Brooklyn Tours, going virtual in Brooklyn, New York, virtually the center of the universe. This is my big intro. I know you're rolling your eyes there. And we have Joan Huggard,
Joe,
Joan Huggard with Citybitz, which I'm always screwing up your name. How you feeling, generally speaking?
I'm I'm actually feeling busy in a
Yeah,
strange way, in a very strange way. I've um, working differently these days, working very differently. What's my story? Well, I was raised on Long Island. I am one of three sisters, and we come from a creative family. I grew up with my mom always making things, sewing, making wreaths for the door, baking bread, like creating. Um, my sisters, they did the traditional, they paint, they draw, and end up going in education. And I just continued creating. Um, I went to FIT, and originally I studied textiles.
mm,
So that was my first medium. But it was textiles and marketing. After that, I worked at a textile company in the historic preservation area. And
where you mean that's in the Garment District of Manhattan?
no, so I worked at a place called Scalamandre, and they were located in Long Island City. And it was actually the factory where I worked at, which was fascinating because you had people who had been there for a really long time making things like trimmings for curtains, and they did reproductions for the White House. They printed wallpapers. It was a fascinating company. And I worked in the archive division. So I used to restore furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for many years while continually working at FIT. So I worked at FIT for many years, worked with furniture at this point at another place. So I worked two different jobs.
There were inspirations. So there were things that you were doing that you enjoyed. You liked using your hands. You liked the three-dimensional arts. Um, and then I guess there were some inspirations that led you to starting your own thing.
Yeah. So what happened was I was working at the restoration place, and my sister, Kathleen, who's my older sister, she also was always creating things. We decided one year that let's make gifts for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So she had received a little hand mirror, it's probably about this big, from her friend from Germany. And she thought, we can make these little makeup mirrors for Christmas. So we went down to a store that was down in Tribeca. It was called Bendheim, and they were the largest importer of stained glass in the country. And it was a really, really amazing place. The selection was incredible. So we went and tried to buy the supplies, and the guy thought we were crazy. It was probably a month and a half prior to Christmas. He was sarcastic as anything, loved him, I ended up, taking classes with him. And we bought the supplies, went back to her apartment, couldn't even get through the glass. We would do the little score and
Mm-hmm.
try to break it into two pieces. And, I was happy if I could get it into any two pieces, forget like a shape that made any kind of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we signed up for the class. So when we were down there, he mentioned that he'd be offering a class. And we thought, we don't need the class. We'll try it on our own. After trying, my sister, lived in Manhattan as well. After trying to break the glass in her apartment, we registered for the class.
I like how you say after trying to break the glass rather
We were
than trying to
trying to,
cut the glass.
yes, we were trying. We at that point, it was just breaking the glass. Yeah, I mean, really. And luckily, like when I finally got a few pieces, I wasn't getting any cuts. She got a few cuts, but like nothing major.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up saying, yes, we need to take the class because we can't cut the glass. So we took the class in the spring, and we learned how to make a window. It was that was our first project. It wasn't a tissue box or a little trinket for the window. We learned actually how to make a window.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. I still have my first window that I've made, which I'll show another time because I'm, not currently where I should be. And then I took another class with him. So I continued to taking classes. And then I kind of really gravitated towards that form because where I was working with furniture and using skill to bring the furniture back to what it originally looked like. Mm-hmm. This, I was taking an actual material and creating something I wanted to make. So it was a whole different level of creation. I was able to actually set up a little workshop where I was living in the basement. So I had a little restoration place going on, there. Mm-hmm. And then I got involved with doing my stained glass, and more glass supplies were going into the shop. Lots of glass supplies were going into the shop. And finally, my landlord, he didn't want that. So I eventually got my own proper, I worked in my apartment for a while, and then finally I broke out and got my own studio space. So I could actually set up a proper studio.
That would be in DUMBO?
That is in DUMBO. Yeah.
Right. So you're right. Yeah. You're right in the heart of DUMBO. You're at the Grand Union building.
And so for like a few years, I did a few little things. It was a hobby. And my sister, she had a lot of other things going on, so she wasn't really doing it anymore. I just kind of stuck with the glass. Mm-hmm. And I decided to try to sell my things. Now at this point, I was doing more than jewelry. I did, which I still do. There were a bunch of home accessories. So mirrors, wall sconces, pieces for candles. I even made stained glass barrettes. I made mosaic night switch covers, night lights, mosaic out of glass, a lot of different things. So my first craft show that I did was the Washington Square Art Show, mm-hmm. Which I still do many years later.
It's a fun show.
Yeah, it's a great show.
It might be true to say that you started off with the market, the Washington Square Market, and then you saw, okay, you're getting some success there, and then you said, all right, let me go and actually invest in a separate studio space from your apartment to do the work?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, because I started realizing there were plenty of markets to do. I didn't do a whole lot in the beginning, and because I also still had my job at FIT. Mm-hmm. It was always, I left the restoration place at one point, but I still kept the FIT job mm-hmm. because it was my security.
So at what point did you leave FIT and do this most of the time, your full-time thing?
It took a long time. So I left FIT in 2009. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it was October 2009. And it was kind of a scary thing because it was good pay for part-time work. I got part of my benefits through there. I really liked the people. And the thing I liked about the job was I worked with a lot of the students. I worked with a lot of college students. I did not teach, but I either worked in the registration office or I worked in a resource center in the fashion design. So yeah, I love that age. I love being around all this creative energy.
Right. That vibe, it kind of enriches you, and from there you're able to, and you're also on, 27th Street and 7th Avenue?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're right in the middle of things and at least the fashion world. And, it's also a very busy part of New York City. I love that part of New York City too. So you're probably constantly getting ideas, not only from the students and from the setting, but also from the city itself.
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, I'm not sure exactly when I ended up in DUMBO, but what I used to love and one of the reasons why I kind of ended up there was I would go to all the open studios. Mm-hmm. There were all these, back in the day, it was amazing. They still have open studio this year. They're actually going to do it virtually. But it's not like what it used to be. There's buildings now that, are not commercial spaces anymore. They've all, a bunch of them have become residential. And I went with a friend one day and I thought, I want a studio, and I ended up seeing an ad. I want to say it was in Craigslist. And the person posted, that she had a share available. And I met her when she opened for Open Studio and, moved in. And then I was in that space for years until about a few years ago, moving to my other space. Once a year, they would actually have Open Studio. When the whole neighborhood thing, because then they started where it was more in the street, but like a lot of times it was traditional, like visiting the studios. So it's changed the way they've done it over the years a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they no longer do, there's no longer the DUMBO Arts Festival.
Right.
Right.
No.
So that was a big thing. That was also a draw for me to the neighborhood. That's how I found many of the people that, appeared on the Made in DUMBO tour, was because of my going to the open studios that were open, during the DUMBO Arts Festival. So it was really sad when that went away. But like you said, I mean, there's still a very vibrant creative community in DUMBO, and it's great because they find different ways of getting themselves out there. Now, obviously, this is a huge challenge. So doing things virtual, that's also another creative way of doing it.
Yeah.
So you finally got into space that you settled into it, and what do you do? What do you make? Do you have anything that you could show us?
What do I make? So the first picture is one of the stained glass earrings, and I make earrings in a variety of shapes, colors. So that's one category that I work on is, stained glass jewelry. I also work and make pendants as well. The next four, we have a card case, a pair of cufflinks, a flask, and a money clip. Those, that was kind of like the second area of my work. So originally I started with stained glass. Then I got into working with photography because I just have always loved taking pictures around the city. And a bunch of them up there are very iconic. However, I love taking pictures of more obscure things as well that people see every day. That makes New York, New York. Like the music, people might not realize, but that is from the top of the Brooklyn Academy of Music. Then I'll have the cobblestones in DUMBO. I do take a lot of pictures of mosaics within the subway.
So it's kind of like spur of the moment. You don't really go on a mission to take pictures of a certain part of a neighborhood. You just happen to be walking around and you pull out your camera, take a picture, then you think, all right, that could be a good thing for a money clip or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, here and there, I used to say, oh, today I'm going to go take pictures of graffiti. Like I'm going to walk over the Williamsburg Bridge, and I'm going to look for graffiti. But generally, it's just I take pictures when I'm walking around, because I walk or ride a city bike all over. I mean, you say I love the subway. I actually don't take the subway that much. I mean, I do and I don't. I mean, luckily, like I live close to a studio. Like I live in the East Village and the studio's in DUMBO. So I can ride there, 20 minutes to a half an hour. So, I like that access. And actually, when I ride over the bridge, and that goes into a whole other thing that I make. When I ride over the bridge, I mean, the views that you see from there are not any views that you're going to see somewhere else.
So the Manhattan Bridge you're talking about?
I ride over the Manhattan Bridge. Yeah. You just get to see really see Chinatown in a different way. And then often I actually walk over the bridge, which is how another line of mine started, which I know you like so much. And that line is called Manhattan's Makeup. So in one of the last pictures on there, I just have a very select few on the website, but I make jewelry, earrings, pendants, and cufflinks and rings out of paint chips from different locations in the city. And the first ones I think I did was from the Manhattan Bridge, because I would walk over the bridge and I would see these pieces of paint on the ground. It's like a mixture of paint and rust. So you would have anything from a blue to a brown, but like lots of different shades in between. And I just thought they were just beautiful. And I just decided I had to, oh, actually, Manhattan Bridge was the second one. The subway was the first, but we'll talk about the Manhattan Bridge anyway. So I would just collect paint and not know what I was going to do with it. But the first ones were from the subway.
And you have like files of these. You have little baggies of them,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Do you have any there by any chance?
Do I have any of the paint chips? No. I was trying to think if I had any of the cufflinks. I don't think I have them either. But so basically, like I'll find the first batch, and truthfully, the story is I found pieces of paint in the subway at the 2nd Avenue subway. This was like the first paint that I found. Mm-hmm. And they were just beautiful. There was a mixture of blue and red and purple. And I saw them. It was early one morning. I was going from the East Village to Dumbo to go do a craft show. And I was walking past them. I just thought, you don't need them. You collect so much. You just don't need this. Mm-hmm. And then I walked a few more feet and I realized I kind of do need them. So I went back, got the paint chips, and
these were like scrapings. They were scraping off one of the pillars.
So they have the columns in the subway.
Okay.
And somebody had scraped the column. I think they prepped them because they wanted to repaint. It was kind of loose, and they just didn't clean up their garbage. And
so you have layers and layers
of over the years. They've painted different colors. So I put them in my bag. I sold my things that day, and I didn't do anything with them probably for about a year. Mm-hmm. They just sat there as one of my many supplies. And one day I was making cufflinks out of little pieces of glass, like working with my stained glass, and I made these mosaic cufflinks, filled it with a resin, which is one of my other materials that I use. And they came out great. But I thought, I wonder if I could do the same thing with those paint chips. So I took out the paint chips, cut them into little pieces, did a mosaic, filled it with a resin, and it dried. And the first batch really wasn't great because you got air bubbles in them and something. But I could see where I was going with it. And so the first things I made with paint chips were the cufflinks, and then
which are beautiful. I've seen. I wish you could show me a pair, but I know they're in Dumbo, but they're beautiful. Another
time. Yeah. So after that, I was like, where else am I going to find paint chips? So of course, anytime I'm in the subway, that is one of the reasons I like to take the subway is I look. I mean, people think I'm crazy, like I'm picking up like garbage off the ground, but like I'm walking the platform and I'm picking up paint, like looking, and you don't find them very much because they can't leave them there because yes, a lot of that paint has lead in it, and I'm very careful about working with it, but that's why you generally don't see it. So so that after that, I got a whole bunch in the subway at times, and then the Manhattan Bridge has been my gold mine because I found so many paint chips on that bridge because it's just coming off. So you can get to Dumbo from the East Village faster riding a bike, but I very often like to walk. I mean, I loved walking from one neighborhood to another, first of all. Then I like to go through Chinatown and pick up some vegetables and fruit and some things. It's always fun to shop there. And then I walk over the bridge with the little red bags from Chinatown. And sometimes I try to get an extra bag and then I put the paint chips in it. So by the time I get to the studio, I have vegetables, fruit, and paint chips.
So not just paint though. You also find mirrors, broken mirrors, and broken pieces of glass.
Yes.
Then you would use that as material for your jewelry, right?
Yes.
So when people,
these.
So if I were, okay. What do we
got?
These,
okay. So the mirrors. Okay. So the mirrors. What happened with the mirrored ones are, I make. Here's one of my earrings.
Show
there we go.
There we go.
So I have like a rectangle, some like interesting. I don't have all my things here. Some like earrings with like color,
Oh, put it right in front of the camera so we can see.
Go.
No, to your left. There we go.
There? Yeah.
Yes.
So I have like a really amazing variety of glass that I've collected over the years. some of it I bought, some of it I got in, antique stores, some of it I got at a thrift shop, some of it's old, some of it's new. It's a real variety.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to incorporate mirror into my work. And most of the mirror that I could buy, because I would use mirrors, because I make wall mirrors with glass around them or photographs around them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was using that, but it was too thick for the jewelry. Because the stained glass generally that I use is like 1/8 inch. It's usually around 1/8 inch, a little bit thinner. All of a sudden, one day I was walking on the street and I found one of those broken garment mirrors. Those ones that you'll now see them everywhere. They're backed with cardboard sometimes. Sometimes they're just backed with paper. Like I've started analyzing, all the mirrors. So I took one and I realized this is exactly what I needed, because it was almost half of the width. So I was able to use 2 pieces of mirror, because they're actually mirrored on both sides. Mm-hmm. Because if you had your hair up, you wouldn't want to see the back of a mirror. Mm-hmm. So now I've collected plenty of mirror. So I've started to repurpose a whole bunch. So went from buying materials to then finding materials. And the mirrors, the mirrors they've done really well. And it's interesting. You don't really see that much mirror jewelry, and the fact that it's actually a recycled material, I think is even better.
That's what I like about it. It's like the providence of the piece. Like you found this on the corner of East 8th Street and 2nd Avenue, or you found this in Chinatown, or this picture comes from, on the Bowery, that big bank
Mm-hmm.
in the Bowery, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing about your jewelry that's makes it so special, is that when you get a piece of jewelry from you, it has a bit of the city, and you are very, very New York person. So it's also coming from you too. So
over the years, probably like everybody, I have broken several drinking glasses.
Mm-hmm. Just everybody.
Like everybody. I love going to tag sales, garage sales, and growing up in the suburbs, that was our activity to do. And unfortunately, a lot of these glasses have broken over the years, but they were really pretty. So I did not throw a lot of them away, because I know I make things, but they've been collecting and collecting and collecting, and I haven't made anything out of them until recently. So I'm just try to find these. So I started taking these glasses and cutting them apart, and
these are found broken shot glasses, or just
some
regular?
Some of them are shot glasses, some of them water glasses, some
Mm-hmm.
of them are martini glass, whatever type of drinking glasses. So I started this has a Grecian woman on it. So I started
high. Let's see.
Finding these tall, they were tall glasses. Mm-hmm. Okay. And some of them were broken in nice ways, and then sometimes I break them, and then I file them around the outside, getting them ready for the next step. So here's another little part of another little part of one of them. I think it'd be helpful to put something white behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's you can see the pattern, and then this was really pretty. Okay.
To your left.
To my left. There we go.
You go.
So there's all these amazing patterns. So I have sold. I was able to do 2 shows recently, and that's another story. But I did sell 1 pair of earrings so far. The first day out. But this is a necklace. Let's see. I'll just hold it up. I'll hold it up to the box. So I made this necklace.
To your left.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, wow. Nice.
And that's part of the glass.
Okay.
On it looks much better. If we can get it.
Is it very fragile, or you pick out pieces that are?
It's narrow, which is actually why I'm reconsidering some of the things that I made. I'll show you, but some of the larger bracelets are probably not going to be sold because it's glass. Mm-hmm. But I had made this larger bracelet. which I think I'll wear myself, but for safety reasons.
Raise it up and to your left.
For safety reasons, I don't
To
think
your
it makes,
other
there we
left. There you
go.
go.
For safety reasons, it might not make sense.
But what is that edge on that? What is that?
So it is, there we go again. It's the same technique I use with everything. So it's solder.
You're a little off center. Put it to your left.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. I surround the edge with metal, and then I melt another metal called solder around it. And then when it's first finished, it is, I have a whole bunch of things here. When it's first finished, it is silver in color, like that. Which I could leave the metal silver, or you have the choice to use a patina. So it could either be black or it could be copper in color. I prefer the black or the copper finish personally.
Like in the piece you're holding.
Like this is the silver. This is the copper. Yeah. I have black around the earrings. I just feel like it's just richer. You know, it's more stained glass window like. You know, it's much more of a border, and it's already kind of has its patina, so it doesn't really tarnish like a silver will. And
that's found. Those are found glasses that you're.
Those are found glasses in my collection. Yeah, I mean, I prepped a bunch of them before I came. Well, where I'm at, that's another story. So I prepped a bunch. You can see these little pieces here.
Up and to your left.
Yeah,
there we go.
There's a bunch of pieces. So I found parts of them, filed them down, and then like I kind of envision like this little one that I'm gonna hold up to be like a little necklace. You know, I'll put a nice chain on it, and that's what the pattern looks like. You know, so it's a whole different collection. I think it might be called Barbitz.
Barbitz. Okay.
Barbitz. It's a division of Citybitz called Barbitz.
A division of Citybitz.
Yes,
Barbitz.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. This is one of my favorite little ones, and this one I don't think is dangerous, but it's just very small scale with a little pattern. So yeah, that's one of my newer collections.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's a great idea. So you're always kind of changing up the materials, and
I'd get bored if I wasn't, you know.
So you're not in DUMBO right now. So next question is, how are you adapting, to this global pandemic? Where are you now, and how are you adjusting?
Well, I have just started my 8th week with my sister.
So you're back together?
We are back together. I haven't spent 8 weeks with her probably since childhood. Right now, probably with no traffic, we're probably 20 minutes from DUMBO. But
yeah, like there's no traffic.
Yeah, there's no traffic. I think I looked it up the other day. I think it said it was going to take 25 minutes to get to the studio, which I have not gone to. How am I adapting? I mean, of course, I was really stressed because I sell, I would say 95% of my things at outdoor markets. Outdoor markets, holiday markets, and I do sell online, but I have never really concentrated my efforts to selling online. So I don't sell online that much. Yeah, there I am. There's one of my outdoor markets. That one I was in the West Village.
That is that's a hard job. The setting up, the taking down. I visited you at the holiday market in Union Square, and on that freezing cold day, and there's nothing going on, and they probably come in waves.
That day, it was really nice to see you. Yes, that was a difficult day. It's a tough thing, but it's never easy. It gets easier. I mean, a lot of times people will see the amount of stuff that I bring to a show, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, how do you do that? That's so much stuff." Well, they don't even realize that's probably half of the stuff that I used to bring. Number one, like I really know how to like pack well now. You know how to pack, and you know how to be efficient.
And also you have the I guess you call it the furniture that you have to bring with you and making sure
Oh
it's
yeah. If I'm doing an out, so that Union Square, once the thing is set up, it's great because at the end of the day, you roll the thing down and you walk away. But when you do the markets on the weekend, you have to bring everything. So I bring a tent. I bring all the weights for the tent. I'm down to 3 tables. I used to bring like 5 tables. I'm bringing 3 tables now, or I would bring 3 tables now if we could go. And the fabric, the product, it's a lot of stuff. But I've got it down to a science at this point. So yeah, I have always spent my time with doing markets, which I really do enjoy. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I get to meet my customers. I see a lot of people over the weekends, and I mean, I'm a people person, but during the week, I work by myself a lot. Like I'm not around people very much. So I mean, the weekends, a lot of people think, oh, you have to work on the weekends. For me, it's 2 days of the week that I have to be somewhere, period.
Right. And it's also, it helps you because you get to socialize with people.
Yeah.
You get to talk with them. You learn what they like, what they don't like.
Yeah.
I can imagine that could be a lot of fun, especially when the weather is good.
Yeah. And the other vendors. I mean, it's not even just the customers. It's like I have a great group of friends who kind of do the same. We all work in different mediums, but we all, when you deal with the difficulties of, your own business, number one, not knowing if you're making the money that day, not knowing if it's going to rain, not know if there's going to be wind, like you get tight. You get really tight, and it's really interesting because over the years, I've become friends with all sorts of people. I mean, now I do a market in Fort Greene, and it's connected to a farmer's market, and I actually know all these people who are farmers. I mean, it's like it's interesting, and.
Do you make deals with one another? Do you
Sometimes,
I'll give you something this off?
or sometimes they'll just be like, take a few of those. Yeah. I mean, and then with other vendors, with a few friends who make soap or headscarves and whatever, we've definitely done some bartering over the years.
And it's good that you have something that's unique, that you personally make with your own hands. I mean, that's a big thing. I think a lot of people are looking for that.
I came out thinking I was coming out here for 2 weeks. Okay. And the family's like, you should come. I'm like, oh, no. And originally, then I thought, maybe I should. Okay, I'll pack some things. So I was like, what can I bring that's portable? The stained glass earrings, I make a lot of things, but they're my number one seller. And I don't spend enough time on my website. So I thought, bring out take all your earrings off the racks, that you would normally bring out to sell. And they're all here with me, probably like 250 pairs of them. I don't know how many, and they're all different. And I have been photographing them, photoshopping, getting them up online. On my website, I think every single one on the website right now, I have put up on there since I've been here. None of them were there before.
So a lot of your business in the past has been at these markets.
Yeah.
And then also you were selling through Etsy.
Yeah.
But now this is an opportunity to up your game with your own website.
It has to be.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I've always been challenged selling online. I'm like, I don't understand why I'm not making the sales. Well, I wasn't making the sales because I wasn't spending the time on doing the work to make the sales. Right. I spent dedicated all my time to in person. And, there were some selections online, but I wasn't active enough. A lot of times the selections that were there, somebody would order a pair of earrings. Well, I wouldn't have them anymore because I probably sold them the week prior. So then I'd have to run around the studio and try to find glass that looked like it and make another pair. Now Nobody else is buying them in person. So every single one on the site is ready to put in the mailing box, like I have it so I brought those. I can't do any, not at the moment. Anything else, all of my other photo products with the resin, I didn't bring that equipment because I thought I'm bringing stuff for 2 weeks to do. I did bring my soldering iron and some equipment, so I actually can finish. I cut a whole bunch of earrings before I left, so I can do that work here. I have a little photo booth which I can show you if you want.
Let's do a little tour. See what the space looks like.
That's it.
I love your space in Dumbo. So
I do too. I miss it. I have a great space that overlooks the Manhattan Bridge. All creative people down the floor, and But I'm with creative people here. My sister's very creative, so that's good. So right here, right there we go. I have my little portable photo booth. There's the earrings there. You can kind of see it. Now, this is great because you can there's a switch here, which is not plugged up to power right now because I was plugged up to the computer. But I can push this, and this will become nice and bright. And I've been taking my pictures here to get online. These, can you kind of see it?
We can see it.
Okay. So these are my lineup of what I'm going to actually take pictures of. That lovely garage she has, it's very barn-like. That has been my outdoor photo studio. So on my website, I'll have a picture of a white background and then a picture which is a little bit more interesting. You could see like the sun hitting the earrings a little bit better. I put the earrings on the line and I shoot. I'm getting very creative here. And this is the area that I am now working. Okay. Family portrait on the wall that, from forever ago. And then I have a little soldering station right here. Soldering iron. And this is the solder. This is what goes around the earrings. Every supply that I have, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Every supply I have right here is in this box. Now, you know how much I usually have, Dom. That is everything. I brought 5 priority boxes out here, trying to be optimistic that a few people were going to buy something, maybe within the 2 weeks. Of course, it's 8 weeks now. And I did make a few sales. I ordered a box of 25 flat priority boxes. So I'm ready. I'm ready for the sales to happen. And nicely, I did make a sale today and a sale yesterday. So that was, we're getting somewhere slowly. So I think I'm gonna continue down here because then I can go into the next thing.
Okay.
All right.
Well, the next thing I want to show you.
I don't know what's the next thing. What do you have to ask me?
The next thing is this. So let me bring it up. This is from your recent Facebook post. Okay, so
I have to go grab something, so I'm going to talk and walk.
Okay, so.
Oh yeah.
What's this all about? What's the story here?
Well, we know that we're all wearing face masks these days, whether we like it or not. And if we are not wearing them, we should be wearing them. And originally, I took that picture because I just thought it'd be fun, as a, with the times. Let Mom and I, put the thing on. I was doing a sale for Mother's Day, and we wanted to, figures we might as well wear the earrings with the face mask. Just thought it'd be kind of fun. She personally actually made those masks, and kind of took her a long time. She's really nicely enough, she was making them for the whole family. So we were each getting 2 of them. And, mine is actually right here. And I got another one.
Hold on. Let me put you back in.
Okay.
Let's see it.
All right. So this is the one she made me right here. It looks a little different than the one I'm wearing because I did a little Photoshop on the one that I was wearing so you can see the earrings more. So, truthfully. And it's nice, it has a little pocket, I'll describe that later. But so it took her a really long time, but she's in her 80s, and she's making us the mask. So we all have them. And I kept thinking to myself, like I'm trying to start selling my earrings more online. I thought maybe I could try to start selling locally. And, it's a decorative. People still want to have something that, a little nice something for themselves, but they don't really need earrings. None of us really, really need them. We want them, So I thought, do I actually maybe I should make some masks. My mother made them. Like maybe, like I know how to sew. My sister, she knows how to sew. We grew up, as I told you, growing up making things. I've known how to sew since I was probably 12 years old, So we grew up with the sewing machine there in the room. So I thought, why not go with the times? We're going to be wearing those face masks for a long time. So last night we made our first prototypes. Okay. We have to tweak them a little bit. But I mean, we have, like the collections of all my other things, we own a lot of fabric. Mm-hmm. We don't have to buy fabric. We just had to buy elastic, which came in today. So
so
I
really,
ordered a few days ago. Yeah, I'm serious. It just kind of happened to become serious quickly. I ordered 80 yards of elastic. So I'm getting, I don't know.
I don't think this is a fad. I
don't think it's a fad.
I mean, I think that, in the future, there'll be the flu, there'll be whatever, this is not going away. And I think that I'm seeing today people wearing these composite masks, these very high tech masks. Yeah. They've become a status symbol. In some cases, they're more like a fashion statement. I think people are having some fun with them. So I expect that this is going to stay. This is going to be around.
Yeah. So, I mean, as I said, we've collected a lot of fabric, and there's so many different styles in the mask, and there's the shields, and there's this, but like when it comes down to it, why not have something that looks nice, And the thing is, like, okay, so Mom made us a few, and we got to choose some of the fabrics, but eventually I'm going to want ones to match different outfits, like I'm going to want a few different ones. So my sister pulled out some fabric, and then we're gonna move. So now we have another workstation. So we're leaving the stained glass station.
Okay.
And now we are walking through her collection. She has a lot of things. Well, she collects glassware. We're not going to break any, but like she collects glassware, and
she's a collector too. Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Got it. The fabric. We started with one. So this is the first pattern that we're going. We weren't really supposed to cut into this. It was something else, but we don't know. She was something that fabric she really liked, but maybe got by the window. So this is the first pattern, which I think is really nice. And this is really nice cotton, really, really nice weight. So last night we tried, kind of late. They're not perfect yet, but it takes a while, but like, here's our first one.
There we go. Very cool.
So we did black elastic, which actually I really think I like better. And then we did a white elastic, and we even made a little bendy thing for the nose, so it can kind of go underneath. And we made a little pocket, so you can actually put like a coffee filter, paper towel, some kind of filter in the pocket. So, we're going to be working on those.
Awesome. Very cool. Well,
so
you're coming out with new products, you're coming out with new ideas. You're somehow making, I guess all of your experience with pop-up markets is probably helping you figure out how to organize yourself in this smaller space.
Yeah. I mean, all the experience with pop-up markets, definitely having to I don't know where to put this. It's creativity. It's like trying to figure out what am I going to do, because this is this has been my, I've had it down a certain way and how things are supposed to work, and it's not that way right now. I mean, luckily I know how to sew, and I mean, I'm not going to give up everything else. I'm going to continue working on product and building up my stock. It's a shame not to be able to be at the studio. I think I will visit it and do like a long day here and there. I mean, I could probably take one of the cars and head there for a bit, but I'm keeping busy. Like I've got between taking the pictures, doing the Photoshop, working on all the earrings, and now working on masks. I mean, I'm busy. And cooking.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of that myself.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to other creative people like yourself?
You just gotta keep going. You just have to if you have an area that you have been resisting working on, well, now we have the time to work on it. I mean, I have resisted spending time on the computer working on the website. You just got to do it. I mean, and part of me feels like, well, I'm not seeing the result. Quickly, I'm like, I'm not seeing the results. I'm not seeing the results. But we're not going to see quick results right now. But it's building it for the future. And if anything comes in now, great. It really was rewarding to see a few sales come in. I mean, yes, Mother's Day is next weekend, and I think a few of them are definitely Mother's Day gifts. But you just have to also just look at different directions. Like, what else do you know how to do? And maybe also just take time to enjoy. I mean, I luckily, have great family who took me in, and we're enjoying ourselves, making the most of it.
I see you have a 20% off on all earrings, so you're having a little sale. So this is what you see when you go to your website. So yeah, that's good advice. I think that for me too, it's like, okay, there are things that I could have done from an accounting perspective and other stuff that I could do, that now I have the time to do it. So don't waste that time.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you very much. So because we ended on the mask, this is actually a good segue into my favorite charity right now is Masks for Docs, and they're all about delivery of masks and other things like gowns and hand sanitizer and so on to healthcare workers primarily. And they actually are throughout the United States. They're in Canada, they're in Mexico, they're also in Colombia. So they're really, it seems like a very new organization, and yet they're growing very quickly. So I've reached out to them myself and said, if I know makers that can donate supplies to your organization, what should they do? And so I'm waiting to hear their recommendations. So, but that said, just want to say thank you very much for spending time with us and sharing your space. It must be a very humbling experience that you're, at someone else's home, and you're even though it's family, it's not your home.
Well, yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. But it's been good.
Mm-hmm. And I love the idea of using the glass from drinking glasses to make jewelry. That's a little hard to do, so I'm sure you're doing experimenting with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad also that you're committing to doing the mask. I really see that. How much, just out of curiosity, how much is the mask?
I think they're going to be
$15. That's very reasonable.
Yeah.
I've gone into a place where they're selling the disposable masks, one mask, one daily use of that mask for like $6 a mask. So
wow,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's really crazy. I mean, we might have some different levels depending on fabric, but it seems like could be the right price. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Joan, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. And
you too.
Looking forward to seeing you when this is all over.
Yes, definitely. Bye, Dom.
All right. Ciao for now.